Well, welcome to the Top Gun Show, where I bring you new providers, new technologies, and introduce you to the best professionals in the industry, all so you can make informed decisions. Today, I'd like to welcome Nancy Ridge, the founder and president of Ridge Innovative, where she orchestrates business ecosystems, helping companies unlock potential through strategic global go-to-market initiatives. Nancy's influence spans decades across leadership roles. Prior to forming Ridge Innovative in 2019, she was the executive vice president of a leading technology brokerage. That's where her and I first met. She co-founded the Alliance of Channel Women and has authored numerous books, including Partners Are the Customer Experience and How to Be a Woman in Technology. She is a dynamic speaker, a podcast host, and the rest of her books and accomplishments, if I were going to tell you all about that stuff, we wouldn't even have time to interview Nancy. So I'm going to cut it to the chase. Nancy, you made it. Welcome to the Top Gun Show.
Yay! The most fun 10 minutes in communications. Thank you,
That's
Steve,
right.
for inviting me today. And by the way, I've been a co-author with those books. I have to give credit to the real authors, especially Cheryl O'Donoghue on how to be a woman in technology. I just got to be a part of an ensemble, and we're going to talk about that today because being a part of is my passion.
Right on, right on. Well, you just released your memoir, and it's jumping off the shelves. It's on Amazon. It's all over the place. And in it, you shared the origin of ACW, Alliance of Channel Women. And by the way, I went to an ACW event at Channel Partners this year,
Oh,
and it
good.
was huge. It was like a prom. Everybody was dressed up in their
Yes.
best dresses, and it was like going to the Oscars. I mean, the room was filled with hundreds, if not thousands, of women. So
Yes.
we'll talk about that another time. But let's talk about the book. Tell me about the book and what prompted you to write it.
Well, again, thank you for allowing me to come on your show and talk about this today. The book really is the memoir of ACW. And what prompted me to write it was the changes that I saw happening within ACW really in the 14th year. So in 2024, when I went to our annual event, and as you described it, these are now events. I mean, they are big deals. As I went to that event, we welcomed Micah and Aquila as our new president and vice president. Every 2 years, there's a transition of leadership in ACW, which is part of our mission, is to give women a chance to lead. And when those two stepped on the stage in their new roles, I felt a shift at that particular night. There was a forward momentum that was happening with the group. And I was also just so delighted to see for the first time two women of color in those roles. And afterwards, we went to celebrate, and I got to sit with them and the other board members. And there was just such a joyful celebration. But at the same time, I wanted to remind them that there's still a lot of work to do. And in many cases, the cause that ACW was there to address in the beginning was taking some steps back. You know, the word DEI or the term had become kind of a dirty term. And it was really, we were seeing defunding happening for women's programs across the board. And that was starting in 2024, kind of very quietly. Now it's much more in the open. But I remembered that that's a lot of what we dealt with in the very beginning 15 years ago. And I thought it was time to write down the story of what happened, how we got to where we are today, because it's important to remember our roots so that we don't get complacent.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, what happened 15 years ago that makes that relevant to now. But I think you're right. You got to know your roots. You got to know where you came from to get to where you're going. And like you said, ACW is still in a huge transition and a lot of growth, a lot of opportunity. I mean, you haven't accomplished what you set out to do yet. You've done a ton, but that's great that you took the time to write that and author that. What do you hope women take away from your book?
Well, I really hope that they'll be inspired to, first of all, not feel like they have to tackle their careers and their busy lives and all the challenges that women face by themselves. That we are a group, that we can support each other, that we can elevate each other, that our natural way of being is to collaborate and to embrace that. And when we do that, look at what we accomplish. I mean, ACW is killing it right now. The local chapters are exploding. That means that women are getting involved at that grassroots level all over the United States. And, I hope that each one of these ladies that comes into ACW will see a future for themselves as part of a much bigger movement.
Well, as usual, the men can learn something from what you're doing because as a man in telecom, I don't think we do near a good a job as what you're promoting and what you do with the women in the channel. So hats off. You're just amazing. But you know what? You're just getting started. So what's next for you? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
Well, thanks for asking. I mean, I was joking about it at the event. If you were there, I said, I hope I'm still wearing high heels in 10 years walking on stage. But obviously, I love to write. And so hopefully in 10 years from now, there'll be a number of other books that we can discuss and that I will have had an opportunity to share those experiences or those visions with others because I really feel called to do that. That's like the artist in me. Like I've been the technician and the businesswoman for my entire career. By the way, I'm not giving up on that either because I love tech. I'm working right now with a SaaS company out of New Zealand, helping them get their brand and their product launched in the US. So I don't see that type of work changing anytime soon. I'm still very much all in terms of furthering our industry, and there's so much to do. I mean, whether it's how AI is going to overlay and change everything, or how partnerships are continuing to really dominate the go-to-market strategies. So, lots to do, Steve.
Yeah, well, you'll get it done. You got a lot of energy. I really want to thank you for sharing all that. I want to ask you a quick question. We're out of time, but what the heck? Um, if you could meet anybody, dead or alive, who would you want to meet? And
Hmm.
what would you ask him or her? This is out of the blue. You don't
Wow.
even know I was going to ask that.
Anybody, dead or alive? Wow, that's such a huge question. I mean, off the top of my head, I guess, and this might sound a little crazy, but along with what we've been talking about today, one of the women that I really admire is Michelle Obama. I would love to meet Michelle Obama. I think we have some similarities. She's feisty. She's a great writer. She's out there. She's raised young women successfully, and she's out there inspiring other women. So it'd be fun to kind of pick up on some of her energy and I don't know, just off the top of
Well,
my head, let's do it,
you know, she
Michelle.
might she might be a follower of the Top Gun show. You never know. And if you are, Michelle, reach out to Nancy. Send her a message on LinkedIn, and you guys get together. But invite me. That'd
Cool.
be fun. All right, Nancy. Hey, we got to run. Thank you so much. I
Okay.
want to have you back on the show and talk about Ridge your company and what you're doing, and what your initiatives are there, and all that, and all the thousands of people you're going to help with that company.
Sounds
But
good.
thanks
I
for
would love
carving.
the chance.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks for
Steve.
carving out time out of your schedule. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thanks for watching, everybody.